this is, it's hopefully what you get out of this little workshop is to know what you probably already know, that it's very complicated, because it's really hard to say this one is a bad guy, this one is a bad guy, because everyone really just want to take care of their family. So we have to keep that in mind. Everyone's doing it for a reason, and realizing that the problem might not be the person itself, but the whole situation is worth something. So just to realize that it's complicated. Yeah, very complicated. But you all had some really good inputs, so hopefully that's kind of initiating some more thoughts about it. So you did a great job.
The stuff like this, and try to sort out which animals you think plays the most important role in a conservation matter, and which species plays a less interesting or important role in conservation. If you should try or if you want to try to determine which kind of group or which species should have a high priority in a conservation debate or conservation matter, or maybe some of the animals here plays a more or less interesting role or non-role at all. Do you get the activity? Yeah, so actually, it would be nice if you just look at the stuff, try to handle the stuff, just be careful of the living part of it, and then try to determine where to roll up in a line. If you're looking at a conservation perspective, how to make a priority in the different species.
Are you all? Everybody knows what you're expected to do?
Yeah.
Excellent. You make a line here. The one that you think that has the highest priority, which one is the most important? You just put in one end, and the other end you have the one that's least important from a conservation matter. Go ahead. And you just make a line here.
Sí, puede ser, porque también puede.
Ya.
Porque por ejemplo,
¿cuál es el más importante?
No, sí, pero
Primero, el más importante de todo, para que se quede para que se conserve
porque digo,
Priorities is here. Okay. This is completely different. This is a completely different sort of compared to the other group.
So if you take here and say this is the most important. Those who agree, why do you think that it's the most important to conserve cockroach?
So it can
You had an interesting perspective on that.
So it can decompose all the matter that's there,
Okay.
and it will regenerate what's happening in the soil, so it'll be better for the plants,
Yeah.
and it can grow some more.
Cool. Did you all get that point? The young gentleman there, he said that it's very important to conserve cockroaches because, yeah, just say it again.
Oh, because they'll decompose the matter that's there, and it'll allow for more nutrients to go back into the soil, and more plants can regrow on the already present lands. That's why it's important there to have cockroaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting, very good point. If you are using a lot of resources to conserve this species, then what do you need actually?
For the gorilla?
Yeah, for the gorilla, to conserve the gorilla, what do you need?
You need the land there. You need its ecosystem. You need its habitat.
Yeah,
its
and
food.
and you need a rather huge area actually. Yes, if you conserve this area for the sake of the gorilla, won't you as well conserve some of the cockroaches? I don't know. So maybe if you conserve the gorillas, you also conserve cockroaches.
Then you do that for all of
Do
them.
you get my point?
Yeah. What about others?
But what about, do you think, you say this one play a big role in the ecosystem, and they do. What about the gorillas? Do you think they are important for the ecosystem? Do you think they're very important for the ecosystem? As important as the cockroaches?
The other group before you guys placed the gorilla as the most important species, and they all agreed, I guess, about it. But you placed the gorilla in kind of this in between group.
That's right. You can use the gorilla as a flag species, where I say if you conserve the gorilla, as you say, you will have a lot of, and you conserve it in the wild, the area that the gorilla needs actually contains a lot of the other species, smaller species like the cockroaches or mice or everything. So that's another very important angle on it. Huh?
They're near the top of the food chain, so they keep all the other animals in the example.
Yeah, but I don't know if you get it, but it's two different angles here. Because you say, if you say, okay, who's the most important for the ecosystem? The cockroaches play a much more vital point for the whole ecosystem. While if you remove the gorillas, there might not happen that much. There might be some plants will not get dispersed as easily as they do. But besides that, there might not happen all that much to the ecosystem in the rainforest. There's a lot of people who will be very sad not to see gorillas. But for the rainforest ecosystem, it might not mean that much as it does if you remove the cockroaches. But it's probably easier to get like a public opinion or to get people to conserve gorillas than to cockroaches.
Hi, my name is Poket Agarwal from the United States of America. Today we visited the Copenhagen Zoo, and it was a really great experience. We did many hands-on activities and workshops which actually showed us the effects of climate change and what's actually happening in these safari zones, polar climates, etc. We got to do activities such as seeing the effects of population expansion and urbanization on the population of zebras and how that would affect lions. And we looked at how over time the elephants have declined in their species and what's happening to them, how their species have evolved and adapted over time. And just hands-on activities looking at the carbon emissions of different food groups that are in Copenhagen, what people like to eat, such as lobster compared with lettuce, salad, etc. So just these little random workshops hand on hand, which really did give a new perspective on everything. And this forum really provides a whole new in-depth view of what's actually happening in the world and how we really view things. So on a great day.
You've been to the zoo today. What did you learn?
Like, I learned a lot about the relationship between what we do and what happened to the animals. Well, I'm not a big fan of animals, but like I love them in the sense that I don't want to hurt them and I want to protect them. And here I learn like what at least I can do to protect them.
Do you have an example?
Like we went to one workshop about animal husbandry, about like which animals, which food that has the most carbon footprint, and like by learning, by knowing that which food has the highest carbon footprint, like at least I can reduce the consumption, so it can like stop climate change. So it's going to be good for the animals, especially those living in the Arctic and Antarctica. Yeah.
Did you learn anything that relates to Indonesia?
Yeah, about the rainforest. Like we went to the rainforest like model here, and like we saw many things, and we were like in one workshop we separated which one which plants that comes from Danish forests and which plants come from rainforests, and we see that 1/3 of the medicine people use today come from the rainforest, and half of the plants and animals come from the rainforest. So, like, it makes us aware that we really have to protect our rainforests. And one of the biggest issues in Indonesia is deforestation. So, like, we are so aware now to protect our forests.